Why is plant-based procurement and institutional transitions the place you have decided to dedicate yourself?
Just take schools, for example. If you look at, there's just under 700 million students worldwide in primary and secondary schools. And just the US school food system alone serves about 5 billion school lunches a year, which is twice as many lunches as McDonald's sells. And so you can
Wow.
imagine moving just that meal alone, plant-based, just shifting one meal like that in a system like that would be the equivalent of, converting 45 million people vegan. So the impact of it's just much easier to shift a meal vegan than it is a person right now.
Greener by default is simple. It's an easy thing to understand when you're talking about people that, everyone's had the experience when they have to opt in for themselves to get a vegan or vegetarian meal. We're just flipping the script and saying, make that plant-based meal the default option. And then for those who want animal products, they can choose it, but a lot less people will choose it if they think the norm and the easy thing and the popular thing that everybody's doing is to eat a plant-based meal. It's inclusive since it, adheres to so many dietary restrictions to offer plant-based meals. It's sustainable for our environment, cost effective, and it preserves freedom of choice. And so it doesn't get the pushback that other initiatives do that make people feel like they're taking away their choice or their options.
Happy to give an overview of Forward Food specifically. So the program that Kimberly mentioned that focuses on plant-based policies, particularly within institutions and businesses. So we launched the program here in Canada in 2017, around the same time that I joined HSI Canada. And it was really born out of the recognition that in institutions, so like universities, colleges, healthcare facilities, some cafeterias, you have these huge venues that are serving large quantities of meals, and you could have really talented chefs and cooks, but they might never have been trained in how to prepare plant-based dishes or plant-forward dishes that taste really good. We're trying to make sure that anyone who's been in the industry for a while knows how to prepare plant-based dishes well, whether it's providing culinary training or recipes or help with menu design and menu planning.
You're a big proponent of plant-based procurement as like the food policy area that we should be focusing on in the AR movement. So can you explain a little bit why?
The reason I prefer like policy transition over, let's say, like transitioning farmers is because if you transition a farmer, it literally will just save 0 animals, which also means it has no effect on the environment either. When you close down a farm, another farm just picks up the slack. So those animals are just bred and killed in another place, essentially. Manny Rittenell from a Climate Refarm says when an animal farm is removed, the resulting supply reduction increases prices. The increased price incentivizes neighboring farms to increase their production to take advantage of those increased prices.
I just realized that, universities have great sustainability ratings, but they didn't really have any or very few vegan meals. So I wanted to address the universities, and I started that movement in the fall of 2020. In addition, in the fall of 2021, similarly to the university initiative, we felt that we could do something pan-Canadian. And the difference would be that we would have individuals in the city that could lobby their city councils. So we started that, and in our first year, last year, we were able to get 2 cities, Montreal and Brampton, to pass motions.
30 to 50 million Americans are lactose intolerant, and more people of color are lactose intolerant. And so there's just this, charging people more to get a milk that, is okay for their system. Like, that can be seen as not being inclusive. I mean, that is not inclusive. And so the way we phrase that is like, make the sustainable and inclusive option more affordable. Like, don't tax people for trying to do the right thing for ethical reasons or because their body can't handle lactose. There are also a lot of religions that encourage vegetarian or veganism, and some religions that, say you can't eat certain animal products. So from that standpoint, doing plant-based by default just kind of, covers all of those bases. And also, younger generations, millennials, Gen Zers, more likely to want to try plant-based foods.